Today is January 26th. It's the 26th day of the year, and this is the On This Day podcast. Today is Australia Day, the National Day of Australia, the day every year on which Australians celebrate the anniversary of the arrival of the First Fleet at Port Jackson in present-day Sydney Harbour. The First Fleet is the convoy of ships carrying prisoners, marines, and seamen from England to this, the other side of the world, to found a penal colony, establishing the first European settlement in Australia. 11 ships of the First Fleet arrive at Port Jackson on this day in 1788. The fleet's commander, Arthur Phillip, names it Sydney Cove, after British Home Secretary Lord Sydney. And it's there that the settlement of exiled prisoners from England is established, on the site of present-day Sydney, Australia. These days, Australia Day is a celebration of not only the founding of Australia, but also a celebration of the diverse cross-section of people that makes up Australia today. Of course, by the time this episode is posted, Australia Day will have come and gone down under, because here in America, it's always tomorrow in Australia. On this day in 1945, 19-year-old Army Lieutenant Audie Murphy from Kingston, Texas, is in command of Company B, 1st Battalion, 15th Infantry Regiment. He and his men are on the edge of the woods near Holtzwer in the Alsace region of France, near the German border. German infantry and tanks emerge from town and bear down on them. What happens next is best described in Audie Murphy's Medal of Honor citation, which reads, quote, "Lieutenant Murphy ordered his men to withdraw to a prepared position in a woods while he remained forward at his command post and continued to give fire directions to the artillery by telephone. Behind him to his right, one of our tank destroyers received a direct hit and began to burn. Its crew withdrew to the woods. Lieutenant Murphy continued to direct artillery fire, which killed large numbers of the advancing enemy infantry. With the enemy tanks abreast of his position, Lieutenant Murphy climbed on the burning tank destroyer, which was in danger of blowing up at any instant, and employed its .50 caliber machine gun against the enemy. He was alone and exposed to the German fire from 3 sides, but his deadly fire killed dozens of Germans and caused their infantry attack to waver. The enemy tanks, losing infantry support, began to fall back. For an hour, the Germans tried every available weapon to eliminate Lieutenant Murphy, but he continued to hold his position and wiped out a squad which was trying to creep up unnoticed on his right flank. Germans reached as close as 10 yards only to be mowed down by his fire. He received a leg wound but ignored it and continued his single-handed fight until his ammunition was exhausted. He then made his way to his company, refused medical attention, and organized the company in a counterattack which forced the Germans to withdraw. Lieutenant Murphy's indomitable courage and his refusal to give an inch of ground saved his company from possible encirclement and destruction and enabled it to hold the woods which had been the enemy's objective. Audie Murphy becomes a national hero when Life magazine features him as America's most decorated soldier in a 1945 cover story. Murphy receives every military award for valor the U.S. Army has to bestow, including 3 Purple Hearts, 2 Silver Stars, the Distinguished Service Cross, along with the Medal of Honor awarded to him for his actions on this day in 1945. After the war, Murphy ends up in Hollywood to try his hands in the movies. In 1949, he co-writes a book about his war experiences, an autobiography called To Hell and Back. He signs a 7-year contract with Universal and is cast in bit parts over the next few years. In 1951, he appears in the John Huston film The Red Badge of Courage. Universal then picks up the rights to Murphy's autobiography and turns it into a film. And who better to play Audie Murphy in the movie about his life than Audie Murphy himself, although he thinks Tony Curtis should play the role. The film To Hell and Back is a hit, and he goes on to star in a whole slew of films. Audie Murphy, who single-handedly repels an entire company of German infantry on this day in 1945, dies in a private plane crash in 1971. He's 45 years old. He is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. At his request, his headstone is plain, like that of the ordinary soldier, foregoing the gold leaf which adorns the headstone of a Medal of Honor recipient. In one of the sworn statements submitted for Audie Murphy's Medal of Honor consideration, a member of his company, Lieutenant Charles Blossom, states of Murphy's actions on this day in 1945, quote, "The fight that Lieutenant Murphy put up was the greatest display of guts and courage I've ever seen." There are 339 days left in the year. On This Day is produced by me, Dave Schultz. Thank you very much for listening. Born on this day in 1961, the great one, Wayne Gretzky. So if you're still listening, you miss 100% of the shots you never take. Talk to you tomorrow.
Walter Gretzky had a son, he grew up to